Hello and welcome into another Sports Link conversation. I'm Parker Webster. Joined with me is Nathan Ganger, and today our guest is NFL draft prospect Danny Pinter, former Ball State football alum. So let's just go ahead and get started. Danny, thank you. Welcome for this Sports Link conversation. Danny, what are some of your favorite Ball State football memories?
Yeah, definitely this whole past season. The wins and losses weren't really where we wanted them, but I think we took a huge step for the program. And so, some of those games, the Toledo game was really cool. And then going back to 2018, the win against Western Michigan in overtime was kind of where we started kind of turning things around, and we realized like, hey, things are a little different now. We can compete in this conference. It was kind of a turning point for us. I think that was the first big win. That one really stands out. And then, games like, Miami, senior day, that was a really big win against a team that eventually won the conference, big rivals. So there's definitely been a lot of memories on and off the field. Those are definitely some ones that stood out.
Now, I want to go back to one game last year where you caught a touchdown. Was that a play where you were just trying to convince coach to call that play for you?
So we actually ran it the year before at Notre Dame for me, and I didn't score. So he had told me, he said, we'll get it called again. So it's not something I was pressing for or anything like that. We'd actually, before that game, we'd had it in for a couple of weeks and just never got the chance to call it. So
When you first came to Ball State, you were a tight end, and then later you changed to an offensive lineman. Like, how did that change start? What was that transition like for you?
yeah, so it's something that even when I was a tight end, I knew partially it was joking, but partially, coach was serious about it. Coach Devan was our offensive line coach at the time, and he was always telling me that he was going to get me over their room. And then we had a lot of injuries that year. So, I was playing tight end, but I was also taking some like emergency tackle reps just in case we had more injuries. So, kind of knew it was a reality. And then, yeah, they approached me at the end of the season, asked me if I'd make the switch permanently. And I was processed from there on. But yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
With this change from the tight end to lineman and now kind of the change of your path for preparing for the NFL, how do you react or adapt to these changes mentally and physically?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is like you can't really get caught up, and obviously that's not ideal, not the way you'd want it to be. But it is what it is. So you can either sit there and be upset about it and wish it was the other way, or you can embrace it kind of. And so that's what I try to do: is just embrace it and just make it work in the best way possible.
So, how do you stay ready in these weird times?
I've still been working out. You got to adjust some of the stuff in terms of the workouts because you don't have access to everything you need. But I've still been working out, trying to maintain that. I've got plans that get sent to me from the place I was training at. So they're good stuff. And then, in terms of, I was supposed to have like these private workouts with coaches and stuff like that from the NFL teams planned. So those have kind of transitioned into FaceTime meetings with them to talk football.
How has Mike New prepared you for this next step into the NFL?
Yeah, in so many ways. And even like back to when I was a young tight end, this wasn't even something in the front of my mind. Like I think that's what's really cool about him is he's always preparing us. From the most obvious standpoint, he brings that Saints offense. So we're very pro style. So I felt comfortable talking with coaches and picking up what they try and teach you because it's very similar stuff. So that's one way. And then just in the style of coaching and just the way he's always expecting the best out of you, even in ways you don't notice. But I think he's always been preparing, all of us.
So, coming from a small MAC school going into the NFL, do you feel like you're kind of being underlooked by some teams?
Yeah, in some ways. And that was certainly kind of my approach, going to playing in the NFLPA game and the combine was, you're out there competing against the bigger schools. And so you're out there to prove, that I don't think there's as big as gap between Power 5 and non-Power 5 as people see. I think football's football at the end of the day. So that's something you're certainly always trying to prove.
So, Danny, where were you when you found out that you were only one of two in the MAC going to the combine?
Yeah, I was training out in Phoenix, and I had woken up that morning. I was getting ready to go train and saw the email come through. I was actually just in my bathroom brushing my teeth. So, yeah, I was really excited. I had a notion that it might happen. I knew it was kind of on the borderline of it, but I don't really like to believe anything until I see it. So, yeah, that was a really cool moment.
Why should a team draft you?
I think just my work ethic is the number one thing I pride myself on. I certainly hold myself, like we've been talking about, that high standard. I want to succeed and I love football and I have a lot of passion for it.
So, what was the moment for you at the combine where it all became surreal to you that you were auditioning for the NFL?
I was a huge fan of the whole NFL draft process growing up. I mean, I always watched the draft and watched the combine and stuff. So to actually be there and then see those guys doing the drills that you see on TV and know like, okay, like it's about to happen. That was really cool. And then I think the realest moment was when you first line up for the 40. 'Cause that's kind of the big one everyone talks about and the one you're visualizing. So yeah, when you're lining up for that, certainly kind of just hits in your head that you're there, and it was really cool.
With the combine being in Indianapolis, did you feel a bit more comfortable with it being so close to campus?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. First when we got there, especially coming from Arizona, I mean, get there and all of a sudden it's snowing and 20 degrees, and that felt normal, felt back at home. So that was really cool. And yeah, I mean, I've been to Indy plenty of times. So when you're going out to go to the hospital for the testing and all that stuff, everything's familiar. And so yeah, it certainly felt really comfortable there.
How will you celebrate that night with the chances of being drafted during this sort of pandemic?
Yeah, my plan really hasn't changed much because I had a pretty simple approach to it. I don't really want to party or anything like that. I'm just going to go home and be with my family. So that doesn't affect me too much. I feel like it's going to be a pretty tense day in some ways leading up to it just because you don't know what's going to happen. So
Is there a particular team out there that you think you fit in with pretty well?
I feel like I could play for any of those teams just because, the offense we ran here was so pro style that we did so much of both schemes. But some feedback I've gotten is that a lot of the zone teams feel like I fit that more, just being more athletic. So, but I've been trying to sell my versatility, and I feel like I can wherever I go, I'm going to try my best to fit into whatever they need me to do.
With the connection Mike New has to Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints organization, do you see a chance that they could potentially invite you in just with that connection?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, he's kind of kept me in the loop. That he has all these great connections, and so he had mentioned to me that he thought that could be a fit. So certainly, he's been great in this process for me and pushing those connections for me and all of our seniors that are going through the same thing. Is he's been really working those connections he has for us. So yeah, it'd be really cool to go to New Orleans. I know we've watched a ton of cut up tapes of them, so certainly be something that'd be familiar in some ways. So yeah, that'd be a cool opportunity.
What can you say to a younger recruit that's coming in as a freshman to the Ball State team to look forward to with their time at Ball State?
A lot of stuff. I mean, I cherish my time there. There's nothing I wouldn't trade it for anything. And so they're coming into a great situation right now with where the team's at. They're coming into there's no better culture, coaches or teammates, in my opinion, that they could come into. And then my biggest piece of advice would just be to work as hard as you can, put everything you have into it. I know that's what certainly worked for my senior class. It's just embracing it, whether it was hard or easy, whatever it was, just pushing through stuff. And so, yeah, no, I'd be excited if I was a freshman coming into that program right now. I think they've got a bright future.
Let's go. Danny Pinter, let's go. Fight team, fight!